Welcome to the program, Oklahoma State Rep. Sally Kern. Welcome to the program. How are you?
Well, I'm very well, thank you, and thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for being here. Oklahoma bill that would ease school policies on imaginary toy guns. Tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, I call it my Common Sense Zero Tolerance Act, and I've been reading about and hearing about all of these instances all over the country where children are being punished for just being children, playing, using their imagination. So I decided I would have a bill to address this. And so the bill just basically says no school district, school administrator, teacher, or other school employee shall punish, humiliate, intimidate, or be condescending to or bully a student, including suspension of that student as a result of any of the following actions by the student. And, things such as brandishing a pastry or other food item partially consumed to look like a weapon. It's ridiculous, isn't it? Possession of a toy weapon, which is 5 inches or less. Possession of a toy weapon made with plastic or wood snapped together building blocks, i.e. Legos. Using a finger or hand to simulate a weapon, vocalizing imaginary firearms or munitions, wearing articles of clothing or accessories that support or advance Second Amendment rights or organizations. And that doesn't supersede if a school has uniforms, then, the uniform policy is still in place. Drawing a picture of, creating, or possessing an image of a firearm, a military vehicle, an aircraft, or a weapon or any object that supports Second Amendment rights or constitutional freedoms, or using a pen, pencil, or other writing utensil to simulate a weapon. And that's the bill. It's nice and short.
Well, Representative, the first thing I like is the title because there's so little common sense in a lot of these zero tolerance acts.
Well, and it's actually, unlike things here in Washington, it really is about the act.
Yes.
It's not just some flowery garbage, with 100 words. This is just, it's what it is, common sense.
Well, and
the Affordable Fake Gun Act.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm taking a lot of heat for it, from people who are making fun of everything, and that's to be expected, I guess. And really, it is sad that there needs to be a law to deal with this. You would think that school personnel would have enough common sense to, use their common sense and not criminalize childhood play in their imagination.
At this point, you have to actually legislate into existence common sense.
Yeah, you do. And Representative Kern, there's such nonsensical, non-common sense things that happens at school today. Because I like when you read the description of where you're going through the description of your bill, the first part you talked about a food item. Because Cameron, I remember the first time I heard a story like this, it was a chicken finger. Like you were saying one time, more recently, and that was years ago. More recently, the Pop-Tart, and it's just it's just stupid.
Representative, can I ask you? You said you're taking a lot of heat, and people are making fun of you. Give us some examples.
Let's see. They're saying now I've opened the door for students to bring toy guns into the school, and can they bring fake booze? Can they bring fake drugs? They're just going off the wall.
Well, the interesting thing, State Representative Sally Kern from Oklahoma, it's the timing of this is interesting because we're seeing stories now. I'm going to read this straight off. This is from CNS News, and we talked about this here on the show a couple weeks ago when we first heard rumblings of this. The Obama administration, concerned that zero-tolerance policies are sending too many students to court instead of the principal's office on Wednesday, urged schools to back off, particularly in the case of minority students and other federally protected groups. So you get to the back off part, and you think like, hey, why doesn't it cover things like this, or a chicken finger, or a Pop-Tart? But stuff like that is not. It's not even close to. And we cover stories on NRA News here all the time about children being sent home, expelled for an NRA shirt or even a military support shirt with a gun on it. That's, and if the administration wants to focus on disparities in the minorities in the minority community, that's fine. If they want that's their right, of course, as the administration. But there's nothing in what they're talking about that would address the real problems that you're talking about here too. If it's zero tolerance, zero tolerance is hurting a lot of people for a lot of different things. And we've talked to way too many good kids. Even one kid who got himself in trouble said, I left something in the car, I shouldn't have done it, and he got expelled. And that's the kind of stuff that needs to be worked on as well.
Oh yes, and like for instance, the little 5-year-old, I think it was a 5-year-old girl who got suspended because of her Hello Kitty bubble gun, and when her mother wanted to transfer her to another school, she couldn't do it because on her school record was that she had been identified as a terrorist threat, and this is ridiculous, and.
But Nidal Hassan's workplace violence.
Yeah, well, and it just shows our culture. People are oversensitive, I think, with the threat of violence in our schools because of Columbine and then Sandy Hook and everything. And I was a teacher for close to 20 years, and yes, you want students to be safe. This bill has nothing to do with the importance of keeping children safe. And what I've been saying is a real threat, a real intent, and real weapons should always be dealt with. But these zero-tolerance policies are just punishing children for using their imagination when no real harm is occurring or going to occur. It's as I said, it's victimizing children, it's criminalizing their imagination and their play. And kids are kids. Let them be kids. If something happens on the playground because they're playing cops and robbers, that's children playing. You don't get upset with that, And it just frustrates me that one news commentator said, well, this just opens the door to the kids bringing more toy guns to class, and it's going to cause problems. Well, number one, it isn't children who are going to be reading this bill. It's going to be adults. It's going to be administrators. And so children aren't going to, be reading the bill and think, aha, I can bring a 5-inch or less gun to class, So let's use a little common sense there. But anyway, I don't know how far it will get through the process. Being from Oklahoma, which is a very conservative state, a very pro-gun state, just high on the Second Amendment rights, I think it stands a good chance, but only time will tell.
Yeah. Speaking with State Rep Sally Kern, Republican from Oklahoma, and if I could just, before we let you go quick, the one thing I noticed too, the things they equated it to, the people on the other side, you could bring in fake booze or this, that. If you notice what always happens, they're trying to equate the gun with all these other negative things. But as you know, State Rep, the gun's not the gun is a tool. It's an inanimate object. It can be used for good or for ill, and it just always want to bring that point up.
Exactly.
Yes,
that's so true. Well, another way it's being attacked is this is taking local control out of the local school districts. Well, there are times when the state needs to set some guidelines. And I think this is an issue when the state needs to set the guidelines. Nothing in the bill it doesn't address at all any kind of discipline or punishment to any teacher or administrator who might, violate a student's right to just play. And that can be left up to the local school district. But there are times when statewide you need to have an established policy that will be uniform for the whole state. And so that's my reasoning there.
All right.
Is Representative Mike Sanders supporting the bill?
I really don't know. I haven't talked with Mike. I hope he will. We haven't. Our deadline for introducing bills is next Thursday, and the way our legislature works, we don't really know what bills each other is introducing until they're actually filed. And
all right, State Rep, we're out of time. It's State Rep Sally Kern, Republican from Oklahoma. Good luck with the bill, and thanks for being on NRA News.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me.
We'll talk to you soon.